You won't believe what happened to one of Kenya's most powerful politicians at 3 a.m. on a dark highway in a split of a second that changed everything. Former Lugari MP Cyrus Jirongo dead, his white Mercedes-Benz crashed beyond recognition, a bus driver forced to make an impossible choice.
Ilikuwa inatoka kwa mafuta petrol station.
Save 65 lives or try to avoid a collision. This is the shocking, heartbreaking story, and wait until you hear what the driver said happened in those final exact moments.
Wakati nilijaribu kuokoa nikasikia gari yangu inaenda chini. Sasa mimi nikanyaga akakuja kama ameniingia.
On Saturday, December 13th of 2025 at 3 a.m., the Nairobi-Nakuru highway, shrouded in darkness, most of Kenya is deep asleep. But on this stretch of the road near Karai in Naivasha, tragedy is about to unfold. 64-year-old Cyrus Jirongo, a man who once controlled the political machinery of an entire nation, is behind the wheel of his white Mercedes-Benz E350. His vehicle bears the registration KCZ 305C. He's alone. The road ahead stretches into the darkness, and coming from the opposite direction, a Climax coach bus, registration KCU 576A. Inside, 65 passengers traveling from Nairobi to Busia. At the wheel, 52-year-old Tirus Kamau, an experienced driver with 8 years at Climax coaches. Neither man knows that in those particular moments, their lives will collide in the most devastating way possible. But that is not all. Wait until you see what the police report revealed about those final seconds and the heartbreaking choice the bus driver had to make. The exact time at 3 a.m., the location, Karai area along the Nakuru-Naivasha highway. According to the official police report filed at Naivasha traffic base, this is what happened. Cyrus Jirongo was driving from the Nakuru direction, heading towards Nairobi. His Mercedes-Benz, that luxury sedan that once symbolized his success and power, was traveling along the highway. Then something went wrong. According to Tirus Kamau, the bus driver who would witness everything, Jirongo's Mercedes suddenly appeared in his lane. Kamau told reporters at Naivasha police station that he first saw the white Mercedes-Benz E350 coming from what he described as the side of the highway.
This ilikuwa inatoka kwa mafuta petrol station. Na mimi natoka Nairobi nikienda Busia. Mercedes wakati aliingia kwa hakugive way.
There was traffic in the lane where the Mercedes was, Kamau explained, his voice steady but heavy with the weight of what he had experienced. The car moved into my lane instead of giving way. Kamau's account suggests that Jirongo vehicle was emerging from a petrol station on the highway. The Mercedes was driving out of a petrol station, and I was on my way to Busia from Nairobi. The driver of the Mercedes didn't give way. He decided to overlap into my lane because there was traffic on his side. The police report confirms that critical detail. Jirongo failed to keep his inner lane, and here is where the story becomes more and more dramatic, because what happened next would haunt Tirus Kamau for the rest of his life. Imagine this, you're driving a bus, 65 people behind you, families, mothers, children, fathers, all trusting you to get them home safely. Suddenly, headlights, a car in your lane, coming straight at you. You have maybe 2 seconds, maybe 3, to make a decision that will determine whether you live or die, whether your passengers live or die. And this was Tirus Kamau's reality at 3 a.m. on December 13th. In those split seconds, Kamau's mind raced through his options. He could swerve sharply, put the bus off the road, try to avoid the collision completely, but he was carrying 65 people. The road had an embankment. If he swerved too hard, the bus could roll, overturn, tumble down the slope, and dozens could have died. Or he could brace for impact, keep the bus stable, absorb the collision at the front, and protect his passengers even if it meant facing the full force of a head-on crash. When I tried to avoid hitting him, Kamau said, his words measured and heavy, I realized the bus would go down, so I decided to save the 65 people. Let those words sink in. I decided to save the 65 people. Wakati nilijaribu kuokoa, nikasikia gari yangu inaweza enda chini. Sasa mimi nikakanyaga, akakuja kama ameniingia, Kamau explained in Swahili. Metal screamed, glass shattered, the front of Jirongo's Mercedes-Benz crumbled like paper. The luxury sedan, once a symbol of wealth and power, was crushed beyond recognition, the engine compartment completely destroyed, and debris scattered across the road. The force of the impact was so severe that images from the scene show a vehicle barely recognizable as a car, and Cyrus Jirongo, the man who had shaped Kenya's political landscape for over 3 decades, died instantly. The police report states he sustained serious head injuries and died on the spot. Rift Valley Regional Traffic Commander Sarah Chumo confirmed the devastating news to the nation, but here is what makes this even more heartbreaking. Tyrus Kamau didn't know who he had just collided with, not at first. I didn't know the Mercedes-Benz driver was Cyrus Jirongo until the police came, Kamau said quietly. His voice carried the weight of a man who had just experienced something no one should ever have to endure. His body was later moved to Naivasha Sub-County Hospital morgue. The wreckage of his Mercedes-Benz, that mangled testament to the fragility of life, was towed to Naivasha police station, where it sits awaiting inspection. The Climax coach bus was also towed to the station. Kamau and his passengers, they survived. Several passengers sustained injuries from the impact, suffering from the shock and minor bruises. They were rushed to nearby hospitals in Naivasha for treatment. But here is what is remarkable. No other fatalities were reported from the accident. 0, not one of those 65 passengers, died. Tyrus Kamau's impossible choice, his decision to hold his cause and protect his passengers, it worked. Those 65 people went home to their families. 65 lives saved because one man made a split-second decision that prioritized others over himself. I was carrying 65 people, Kamau said. Just 9 months earlier, March 10th of 2025, Cyrus Jirongo stood at another funeral, his daughter's funeral. Lorraine Elizabeth Kalamua Chelagat Jirongo, 33 years old, died after what a family described as a short illness. Lorraine was Jirongo's daughter with Caroline Kitoni Wayaki, his first wife. She was born on February 18, 1992. She left behind 3 young children, Jabari Berur, Michael Berur, and Ariel Jabaibai Berur. When news of Jirongo's death broke on Saturday morning, tributes have poured in from across Kenya, from the highest offices in the land to ordinary citizens on social media. The nation is in mourning. President William Ruto was among the first people to pay his tributes. His words were personal, heartfelt, and revealing, a relationship that went deeper than politics. I am deeply saddened by the passing of my friend, former Lugari MP Cyrus Jirongo. The President Ruto wrote, Jirongo was a relentless go-getter, a seasoned businessman, and a consummate politician who refused to be defined, let alone defeated, by life's challenges. The president described Jirongo as a fighter in every sense, blunt yet warm, bold yet approachable, enlightened and endlessly entrepreneurial. He stood out as a resilient and enterprising leader who refused to be constrained by adversity, Ruto continued, and whose life was defined by courage, ambition, and an unwavering belief in his ideas. The connection between Ruto and Jirongo went back decades. Back in 1992, back to Youth for KANU, the powerful lobby group that shaped Kenya's political landscape during the national transition to multi-party democracy. Of course, Jirongo was the chairman, William Ruto was the treasurer. Together, along with other young ambitious politicians, they mobilized support for President Daniel Arap Moi re-election campaign. It was time to immerse power, immerse influence. Jirongo was in his early 30s, but he controlled resources and networks that made him one of the most formidable political operators in the country of Kenya. Now, more than 3 decades later, one of those young politicians had become president of Kenya, and he was mourning the loss of his friend and former comrade. Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka also paid tribute. Kenya has lost a bold and charismatic leader. KOTU Secretary General Francis Atwoli, a longtime ally and fellow son of Western Kenya, was visibly shaken. This morning, with a lot of shock and sadness, I have learnt of the passing of Cyrus Jirongo, who was an asset to our community and Kenya, Atwoli tweeted. Bungoma Governor Kenneth Lusaka also mourned deeply. Police have launched a full investigation into the circumstances surrounding the accident. According to the official police report from the Naivasha traffic base, the preliminary findings point to a lane deviation as the cause of the crash. The report states that Jirongo failed to keep his inner lane and collided head-on with an oncoming bus. Nakuru County Police Commander Samuel Opuru has appealed to motorists to be cautious on the road, especially during the festive season. December is one of the deadliest months for road accidents in Kenya. Increased traffic, holiday travel, fatigue all contribute to higher accident rates. The police reports that both vehicles had been towed to Naivasha police station for inspection. Investigators will examine the wreckage, looking for any mechanical failures, any additional factors that might have contributed to the crash. But the basic facts seem clear. Jirongo's vehicle left its lane, the collision was head-on, and the impact was fatal. There are conflicting accounts about where Jirongo was traveling that night. Some friends said that he had left Nairobi after meeting with a group of Western Kenya leaders in Karen and was heading to his rural home in Lugari, Kakamega. Other accounts suggest that he had traveled to Naivasha for a brief engagement and was returning to Nairobi at the time of the crash. The police report confirms that he was driving from the Nakuru direction towards Nairobi, which aligns with the second account. Tirus Kamau statement that Jirongo's vehicle was exiting a petrol station adds another layer to the investigation. Was Jirongo stopping for fuel, taking a break? What happened in those moments before he re-entered the highway? These are questions investigators will work to answer in the coming days and weeks. On Saturday, December 13th of 2025 at exactly 3 a.m., Cyrus Shakalanga Jirongo life ended in a collision on the Nairobi-Nakuru highway. He was 64 years old. He left behind 4 wives, multiple children, grandchildren, and a political legacy that will be debated and discussed for generations. His daughter Lorraine had just died 9 months earlier. Jirongo's body awaits post-mortem at Naivasha Sub-County Hospital morgue. Plans are underway to move him to Nairobi for further procedures before his final journey home to Lugari. Tirus Kamau, the bus driver who made an impossible choice in those final seconds, goes home to his family knowing he saved 65 lives. He also carries the weight of what happened that night, the collision he couldn't avoid, the death he couldn't prevent. "My condolences," he said simply. Those 2 words capture something profound. In the midst of a tragedy, in the aftermath of an impossible, there is still humanity, still compassion, and still respect for the lost. Rest in peace, Cyrus Jirongo, a fighter to the end, a man who had shaped Kenya's political landscape, a father who buried his daughter and had never imagined his own funeral would come so soon. Your legacy lives on. Your story, with all its triumph and struggles, remains, and Kenya will remember.